welcome to another Apple Home Talk live stream where we talk all about Apple Home and smart home tech. So good to see everybody today. Turin, Frederick is here. What's up, Frederick? George, Jack's Diner, Robert. So glad everybody can make it here. Hope you're having a good week so far. Today I am excited because we have a special guest joining us today. Everybody join me in welcoming Nanoleaf co-founder and CEO, Gimmy Chu.
Hey Shane,
Jimmy.
how's it going?
Doing well,
Thanks.
doing well. How about yourself? So good to see you.
Good. Thanks a lot for having me on the show. The clapping that you had in the background, that tripped me out a little bit.
Oh yeah. I had to throw in a little sound effect every now. I don't have many good ones, so that's the only trick I have up my sleeve.
That was pretty cool. Do
And I'm
you use
getting
like a
used to
Stream Deck to do that, or do you
Yeah, I use a Stream Deck. I'm using a Stream Deck right now. I've been switching up my streaming software quite a bit lately, testing new things, and I don't know. It's different from week to week, it seems like.
It's all good. I have a Stream Deck too, but I don't do a lot of live streams, so I really just use it to kind of like open up Discord when I start gaming.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got to set it up to configure or control some of your smart home stuff.
Yeah. I haven't gone to that point. I think I have so many devices in my basement that could control my smart home that I haven't gone to the point where I'm using my Stream Deck yet.
Yeah,
For
well,
that.
that's a good point. Well, thanks again for joining us. One of the things that I do when I have a guest on is ask my channel members. So I have a channel membership, and I like to give them an opportunity to ask our guests a question. So we have some questions submitted from some of the channel members, and I selected one, and let's see if I can get it pulled up right here. I'd love to start with this question. This is from Dan, and Dan says, Nanoleaf is well known in the smart home space. It's also known to be expensive. Can we look for products in the future to be more economical thanks to things like Matter versus the Apple Home certification?
I don't think it's related to Matter or Apple Home certification, but we actually just did a price drop. So last month we did a global price drop for primarily our panel products. So a lot of our starter kits, we always had them at about the $199 price point. But given the economy, given the situation with tariffs and all that, like we really wanted to make our products a lot more accessible. And when we first designed our panel products, we weren't really necessarily designing it to be the cheapest product. We wanted it to really be the best. But over the years, after we started going into mass production with economies of scale, we were able to price it down, and we were really able to negotiate with our manufacturing partners. So, like the starter kit used to be $199, now it's at about $149. And actually, all of our new products, like our new strategy, is actually releasing products under $99. I think we're realizing that smart home, smart lighting, it needs to be accessible in order to really scale out to the mass market. I'm not sure if I'm allowed talking about this, but we're doing a big launch with Walmart later on this year. And all of the SKUs that we're launching in there, I believe there's 8 of them, they're all going to be under the $100 mark.
Wow.
I think the only one I'm allowed to talk about is the PC screen mirroring light strip. I believe that's either $39.99 or $49.99. That's
Okay.
actually available for sale now. So we just
Yeah,
launched it.
that's the new one, right? Right here?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Okay. It's $49.99.
Okay, well,
But
yeah, tell us a little bit about this. So, well, that first of all, that's great to hear. It is one of the things I've heard over the years is that Nanoleaf is awesome, but they're so expensive. So it sounds like you guys have really tried to both bring prices down for your existing products, which is kind of unheard of these days, especially in this economy. So great to hear you're doing that, and just sounds like you're trying to get products to be more accessible to more people, which I think is great. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the PC screen mirror light strip.
yeah, it's a light strip that plugs into either your PC or your Mac. So it works with the MacBook or Mac OS, and it actually ties into our desktop app.
I'm sorry. I
Playing around with the Stream Deck.
hit the wrong button.
Oh, no worries. So I don't know if I could actually move my camera around. So let's see. I'm going to show you what it kind of looks like. You guys are going to get a bit of a tour of my desk
Okay.
setup. That's my wife's desk setup, but
Here,
there's us.
I'm gonna put you on
Um,
full screen so we can see more of you.
so this is our desktop app, and as part of it, you're actually able to do screen mirroring. So I'm going to enable screen mirroring. But what it ends up doing is it's able to mirror whatever's on the screen onto these lights. And if you're not doing screen mirroring, you could just do it like a simple lighting effect. So I think right now it's just cycling through different colors, and it really makes your monitor pop. And I think for 49.99 plus with all the software integrations, it's a really special product at a very accessible price point. I don't think the lighting in my room is doing it justice right now, but like you'll see off the wall, like the colors just bounce off the walls and it looks absolutely gorgeous. So I think this is, to answer the question around pricing, we're really trying to create innovative products at a low price point so that people can really buy into our products without having to sell a kidney or anything like that.
Yeah, very nice. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, and this product does not support like Apple Home or anything like that. That's just plug it into your monitor, real easy setup. Basically, is that correct?
Yeah, we wanted to, for this use case of having something work with your computer monitor, you're almost always going to be using it with your computer. So we wanted to just keep it super simple, and you don't have to deal with, pairing it with Wi-Fi. You just plug it into your computer. Your computer will detect it as like any other USB device, and then it'll, as you want to control it, you could use the Nanoleaf app to do a whole bunch of things. It'll either do screen mirroring, you could run different scenes on it, you could have it react to the sound that's playing on your computer. So you get a lot of features packed into a relatively low cost accessory for your computer.
Very nice. I was trying to. I got too many buttons here. I was trying to show the screen, but it was coming up kind of small there. Let's see. We got modern day tech in the house. What's going on, Eric? Modern day tech. Um, M yawns. No giveaways today. Sorry. Maybe we'll do that on a future stream. We'll have to talk
We
to
could potentially. I don't know how ad
Jimmy
hoc you
behind the
are.
scenes.
I'm happy to do so if you have a way to facilitate it.
It's something I have to prepare beforehand in order to do the picker and everything. So maybe we can do one in a future upcoming stream. We'll talk offline about maybe making that happen. So
Sounds good.
let's see. Chris has a question here. Let's see. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. Chris says, love Nanoleaf products and exclusively use the matter over thread bulbs and strip lights. Is the company planning on sticking with thread or are you switching to matter over Wi-Fi?
That is a good question. We are kind of straddling both, and it comes down to consumer education. Like it's there is a subset of customers that already want to have thread and understand what it is, but it's still a very small subset. So for example, when we're thinking about, we're launching into Walmart, we're launching into thousands of stores at Walmart, and we have a product on the shelves, and we have to be able to educate a consumer like, hey, if it's a thread device, we have to first tell them what thread is, what phone it's compatible with, what a thread border router is, and why you need it. And it's a little bit challenging to do all of that education for the Walmart customer. And not to say that the Walmart customer is, like dumb or anything like that. It's just it requires too much education. And so we made the decision that actually Wi-Fi products at Walmart makes a lot more sense. However, there's like a huge portion of customers that buy our products because they are thread. So it's like, some people buy our products because they're thread, but they also don't buy our products because they're thread. So it's a weird balancing act. The reason we went into thread was because we believe in the technology. I'm sure some of you guys know, like, this is our Sense Plus light switch, and it's powered by a coin cell battery, and it'll last about 1 or 2 years just off of a coin cell battery, and it has a motion sensor built in. The only way you could achieve that is using thread. If it was on Wi-Fi, the battery might last a week or two. So I saw a comment
Yeah.
there, Lawrence Kibler. Wi-Fi is better than Thread. It's for different use cases.
Yeah, that's debatable, I think. I wouldn't want 100 Wi-Fi smart switches on my network, for example. I'd rather have really anything other than that, whether it's Thread or Zigbee or something else. And Deanne here says, why not offer both Wi-Fi and Thread as a choice in the app? So that's interesting. There have been some devices we've seen lately that support both or supposedly will support both. I guess there's a chip available that can support Wi-Fi and Thread. Is that something you guys have considered or looked into at all?
We've been looking into that as well. So a lot of the wireless chips that come out, they're combo chips that include like, for example, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on basically the same radio. And for those of you guys that don't know, the Thread radio is basically the same as the Bluetooth radio. So there could be a possibility of having the customer choose, like, do you want to put Thread firmware on or do you want to put Wi-Fi firmware on? And then they could have that option just through software on which path they want to choose. And I think that that would be really valuable for the customers that care about it. I think, when you think about Thread penetration, like how many homes actually have Thread networks in their home and how many people are actually aware that they have it at home, it's hard to say right now. But yeah, definitely, I think having that choice would be good.
Yeah, so it sounds like education is still a difficult concept for selling products, I guess, around Thread. And you guys were very early to adopt Thread and Matter. So, what have some of those challenges been or benefits to kind
Well,
of being early on that?
well, I think there was definitely a lot of challenges, and I'm seeing Troy Williams comment here. Um, I think actually, sorry, not Troy Williams. Curiosity Cat. My Nanoleaf Thread bulbs lose connectivity all the time. And one of the challenges that we faced was actually that. And what people don't understand is that it's so dependent on the border router. And so, like, a lot of the times the solution to your light bulbs not being connected is to power cycle your border router. And so a lot of people, if you don't even know what a border router is, when you tell a customer, actually, you have to unplug and replug in your voice assistant in order for your lights to work, that made no sense to them. All they could say is like, hey, like, your Nanoleaf lights aren't working. Like, other things are working fine. My voice assistant's working fine. Why do I have to power cycle it? But then you power cycle it and it works. It was a huge challenge for us because I think Thread as a technology just, it needed some time to mature. And I think over the years it's gotten a lot better, but that required a lot of firmware updates, which, Shane, I'm sure you're familiar with, and some of the people that are active in the Thread community are aware of that. And it was firmware updates on both sides. On our side to keep up with the Thread standard, all the changes that was happening, and also the border router side to fix any potential bugs that they had. So it was definitely, we understand why it was called the bleeding edge. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into developing that. But in many ways, the only way out is through. So we just
Hmm.
kept working at it, and there's still challenges that the industry is going through. But I think that in there is a future where the customer can choose: do I want Wi-Fi? Do I want Thread? And what makes the most sense in my home? Um,
Nice.
yeah. So and even your comment about Wi-Fi networks, like, oh, I don't want 100 Wi-Fi switches in my house. The new standards of Wi-Fi are supporting more and more products in a more reliable way. So, Shane, I'm sure your house probably has well over 100 Wi-Fi products on the network.
Yeah, I think I am over 100. I have a whole lot of everything on my network. There's a little trick that actually Eric, modern day tech here, showed me the other day. You can ask your HomePod, what's in my home, and it'll tell you how many devices are in your HomeKit smart home. and I think I was at like 364 or something along those lines. And not all of those are Wi-Fi, but there is quite a few. So yeah, and you're right. I mean, if you get, I'm actually working on some content now for people who are kind of just getting started, and my recommendation is always start with a good router, from a decent brand, establish a solid Wi-Fi network before you get too deep into all the smart home stuff, and it'll just make your life a lot easier. And these newer systems can support a lot of devices.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So I'm reading some of the comments in the chat about people that have had challenges over the years. I think overall the matter over thread solution at the very beginning, it was like some of the comments said, it was quite unstable. And it was due to a lot of factors, like the major ecosystems, they were in varying states of readiness when they launched. So I don't want to name any names or name any brands. I would say that like in the last little while, Apple and Google really stepped up their game in terms of reliability when it comes to like Thread as a border router. But then there was a lot of other, just like in my home, I've got probably 4 or 5 different brands of border routers, all actively working. And for those of
Mm-hmm.
you guys that know how Thread works, only 2 of them are actually actively doing routing at any given time. And I have no idea which one is active because if you power cycle one of them, it'll automatically hop to another. And so if I needed to unplug my Apple TV for some reason, I don't know which one took over. And then if there's some type of instability in the network, it could be due to a bug in a border router. Anyways, we're diving super technical,
Yeah, yeah, we went
but
deep quick. I mean, that's our audience here. So I had some of those questions I wanted to get to, and they got us there quick. But yeah, it's good stuff. I do hear often, people. I think you put it best when you said, some people will buy our products because it supports Thread, and then other people buy our products or won't buy our products because they support Thread. I think you said it better than I did, but that was I
yeah.
hear that a lot. There's been a lot of people I've heard who kind of have issues with Thread and stuff like that. So, what is, I know you mentioned education being a big part of it. What is Nanoleaf doing to kind of fix those issues? Or is that something that we're kind of having to rely or wait on, the higher ups, so like the Thread group or Matter, in order to kind of fix a lot of these issues?
We have fixed a lot of the issues already, but I would say that we are probably at about 95%. That last 5% is tough, and it requires a lot of work from the industry to like get it there. Um, Sorry, did I mute myself by mistake?
No,
I don't know.
you're good. We hear
You
you.
can hear me. Okay. Yeah, I think overall we did at a certain point of time we did decide like maybe we actually roll out some Wi-Fi products because I don't want to have to teach people you need a border router in order for our stuff to work. And
Mm-hmm.
for example, our Wi-Fi bulb when we rolled it out, like right away, it was pretty close to 5 stars on all of the reviews that we've received. And it was just the simplicity of it. It's just like you pair with it, it works, great. And unless you have like a couple hundred devices on a really crappy Wi-Fi network, you're not going to blame Nanoleaf. You're just going to say at some point you're going to be like, well, I have 200 something Wi-Fi products. All of my Wi-Fi products aren't working properly. The blame actually goes away from Nanoleaf. And so, in some ways that was good, but it doesn't address some of the problems that Thread was out to solve, right? So, for example, we have some outdoor products that in theory would have better connectivity using a mesh network like Thread. And so those are some of the hurdles that we are trying to work through. Um, but I think right now, we have a pretty good solution with our Sense Plus switch. We have what we call LightWave in order to actually connect with all of our products in a really reliable fashion. You'll see like it works really well. You could actually control all of the lights just using a very simple battery powered switch. Sorry, where's my camera? There it is. There's a slight delay. It's tripping me out.
Yep. Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to ask about. Since we're kind of deep on the technical side, talking about protocols and all, might as well ask you about the LightWave protocol. I found that interesting that you guys went that route with with the Sense Plus. What was kind of your reasoning behind that versus using something like Thread or whatever, and deciding to use your own kind of proprietary protocol for that?
Our proprietary protocol was a lot more lightweight and reliable. So we needed something where, for something like a light switch, it needed to respond as if it was a real light switch. When you don't have to wait when you flick off your light switch, the power just cuts, and it feels instantaneous. A lot of the times with Thread or Matter, it would have to route through the border router, and there were certain Matter controllers that didn't multicast stuff. And there's a lot of Wi-Fi networks that don't multicast stuff on IPv6 networks. And so when you can't support multicast, then you end up getting this popcorn effect where all the lights turn off like at different times. And
Yeah.
for a customer experience, it's just like, well, that was really ugly. Like I didn't want that, right? Or when you turn the light on, if you have to wait even like half a second for that light to switch on, you very quickly get frustrated. And I can't explain to a customer that, oh, it's your voice assistant that's causing it to be slow. Like right away, they're going to blame Nanoleaf. And so like we wanted to actually, uh, not have to do that. And
Yeah.
so that was the reason why we came up with Lightwave. And it actually took us quite a while to do that. And, like it operates over the Thread radio. So it uses kind of the underlying foundation. And also, it does connect with Matter over Thread. So if you wanted to control other Matter products, it can. But even with Matter, there's updates to the protocol that needs to happen in order for that to work well.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. I can say it works extremely well and responsive for Nanoleaf products, that Lightwave protocol. So I've been very happy with the Sense Plus. I saw Trent here ask. He says, Shane, ask him if they have any plans to use Matter binding in their devices. That's kind of a deep technical question there. Are you familiar with Matter binding, and is that something you guys have looked into at all?
Yes, I believe this is the thing that I believe LifeX just rolled out something that has Matter binding.
They did. Yes, I
Um,
just put out a video on it this past week.
can you remind me again exactly how it works?
So it's
Oh, right. It's
it's kind of like
device-to-device
Zigbee,
communications.
right? Yeah, and
Yes.
so it's kind of essentially the same concept as Zigbee binding, if you're familiar with that. So it's just, I guess,
Yes.
it bypasses. It doesn't require that border router like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So it's basically we were a little bit ahead of our time. So like if Matter bindings was available and if it worked well, then we probably would have used that. But at the time that we had rolled it out, it was not part of the standard yet.
Yeah,
So we could take a look at that. But it's right now, like I think we have a really reliable solution, and we don't need to rely on standard bodies to do that. Um, but it's yeah, it's a good direction that they're going.
yeah, I agree, and yeah, looking forward to hopefully seeing more stuff, products with that. Are you guys going to be using Lightwave in any other products that you can tell us
Well,
about?
our view on it is we want to make sure that Lightwave is supported by our entire product line, and one of the directions that we really wanted to take was like I don't think smart lighting should be just being able to use your phone to control your products. I think that's really annoying. Like whenever I have guests in my house, like I don't want to tell them what voice commands to use to be able to control the lights. Like there needs to be a physical way for them to still control it. And so like, even at my parents' house, like I just set up these buttons for them so that they could both control the actual color temperature or the color just with the click of a button. And it's a much easier way to do smart lighting. So I think we definitely want to continue to build on top of it. Um, but for now, yeah, our view is we need to be able to control all of our products using Lightwave.
Nice. All right, let's see. I'm checking out some of the comments here. I see some comments regarding customer support and issues around that. Now, customer support is really important, I feel like. How would you say, well, I guess, what are some of the challenges that you face around customer support, and maybe some of the ways you're evolving your customer support systems as the company grows?
So customer support, one of the directions that I've been really trying to move our company to is AI powered customer support. I think sometimes, like through an AI powered customer support, then what we could really do is really focus on ensuring that our knowledge base is accurate and that an AI chatbot could actually navigate through that and solve problems for customers. I think that overall scaling up customer support for us has been a challenge. And I'm seeing on the chat here, Troy Williams, sounds like he had to wait 2 weeks for an email response. It really depends on, did we have a spike in sales? Did we have some type of shipping delay that caused a spike in customer support tickets? It's challenging to scale up and scale down that based on demand. And we as a company, we need to do better. But I think overall, some of the tools in AI will help us get there. And our hope is that we could roll out this AI feature in the next couple of months. My hope is that within the next 2 to 3 months, so that we actually have a better solution for our customers.
Oh, good. Good to hear. I
Lurk,
see people.
Lurkjerk doesn't want a chatbot, but a person. Sometimes chatbots are better than people. I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know.
if it can filter out, things and get the right people to the right connections, it helps. I see a lot of people mentioning subreddits and stuff. I guess there's a Nanoleaf subreddit. I typically stay off of Reddit. It tends to be a dumpster
We
fire.
it is a bit of a dumpster fire. I force our team to go through it, and it's a painful process.
Oh yeah, I bet it
Um,
is.
but I think overall, we're I think we've actually gotten quite a bit better at support in the last couple of weeks. For those of you guys that have had challenges there, I'm really sorry, and please hang in there. We will definitely get back to you. But we as a team, we're pretty focused on solving some of the problems for our customers. And for those of you guys that use our products, you guys probably will have seen that we've been rolling out quite a few additional firmware updates that address various issues. And we've also actually just released a new iteration of our app. And that app actually changes a lot of the foundation on how we communicate with our products. Um, Actually, historically, we actually did a lot of stuff over HomeKit. And this is because, our panel products, that was all driven off of HomeKit. And um, at the very beginning, we didn't know about, Matter wasn't a thing. So as Apple shifted over to supporting more Matter, we decided to actually kind of untie our reliance on HomeKit and have that go through a separate path. It's something that the customers might not see, but it'll fix a lot of issues that were related to home necessarily to us. Because like anything that was HomeKit related, it's like, well, we don't have control over it. So for example, at some points, Apple forced people to have a home hub in order to actually control any HomeKit device. We didn't have control over that, right? But now, like if you use HomeKit, you could still use that with your Apple ecosystem, but through the Nanoleaf app, it'll end up going through Nanoleaf's own way of communicating so that we have much more control over things.
Interesting. So that update has rolled out already. Was that the recent update that just came out,
That
or is
was a
that
recent update. Yeah.
okay? So it's kind
Yeah.
of
We
like
just rolled that out in
it's
the last 2 weeks. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
We have more updates coming. So I think Blue Zone just asked the question here. I'm still curious why in the app there has been no update to scenes in over a week. I can't upload new ones either. Oh, that's an interesting one. So we are trying to do a revamp to how we handle scenes. So in our discovery tab, we have literally like thousands of scenes that are user generated, but we need a way to better curate that for our customers. So we have like an AI scene generator as well, but overall, I think we need to do a little bit of a facelift in terms of how to access those scenes. And that's coming. That's coming later on this year. Our goal is to have that in hopefully around summertime or just before Q4. But that's we're definitely focused on kind of fixing the underlying foundation of some of the app issues that we have. Um, and I think a lot of people are voicing some of their challenges that they've had. I'll definitely scrub through this chat before after we're done, and
Yeah,
this will all go straight to our dev team.
that's it. Yeah, that's nice. Well, it's good to hear that you yourself personally and your team is always open to feedback from the community. That's an impression that I've kind of always got. I mean, just the fact that you're willing to hop on a live stream says a lot. I don't think a lot of CEOs would do that because it can be a little intimidating. But it seems to be something that you guys have kind of always valued. And how much does user feedback kind of impact your product roadmap as a whole?
It impacts it quite a bit, especially the challenges and issues that people are facing. Like we are addressing them, and we have a list of tickets, and those take priority over new features. So this is one of the reasons why it's actually been challenging, like issuing new features, because different people have different challenges. And to be honest, being on that bleeding edge of thread created a lot of challenges for us because we spent a lot of time and effort trying to kind of like move the industry forward. And it was definitely a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that went into that project. And actually, like from our experience of working with Matter over Wi-Fi, it's actually been a lot more smoother just because Wi-Fi as a protocol is much more mature. But I think for the folks on the chat, I might not have been able to get through all of the questions, but I'll definitely scrub through it and chat with our team about this as well.
Yeah, I think it was at CES I saw you, and you mentioned to me that it was one of the review videos that I did on one of your products. I think you told me you, after you watched it, you sent it straight to your R&D team, which that's good to hear because sometimes we wonder, if anybody hears us in the community, and so stuff like is great to hear.
I remember what that was. I think it was around the Sense Plus button. And that's actually planned for our, like the same release that we have the revamp of our scenes. We wanted to do that as well. So some of the features that I believe you had requested was you want the ability to turn on the light with motion, but just leave it on until you manually turn it off. And that was actually really good feedback. The other thing that you had mentioned was you wanted all of the buttons to be controllable through Matter instead of just having the two side buttons. And that was great. That makes sense. Then this could be a standalone product and not just be a Nanoleaf product. So I think that these were really good features. It just, we do have we have a limited team that has a roadmap, and we just got to go through them one at a time. So
Yeah. Yeah,
it's in
you
the
guys
plans.
are still a pretty small team. I don't think many people probably realize that, huh?
Yeah, we're relatively small. It's I think one of the challenges of being a hardware company, like I wish we were like Google and just made money over through ads and stuff, and everything else was just for fun. But for us, it's like even all the firmware updates. It's like we don't charge our customers for the firmware updates, and it's really we need to keep coming up with new products in order to actually kind of feed the team kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I see Taco View channel says, "What do you think about Home Assistant?" So I'm curious. I guess you can answer this, but also just personally, what do you use in your home? Are you strictly Apple Home? Do you use Google Home
I
Assistant?
use everything. So if you look at my setup on my counter there's an Apple TV, there's a Google Home, there's a Sonos speaker, which I'm a fan of Sonos products as well. Also, they've been facing a lot of software challenges, so I empathize with them. In terms of Home Assistant, I actually just bought their. I think they have like one of those AI chatbots, but I need to install one of these bad boys. So I have this on my
Oh,
desk ready to go,
the Home
and
Assistant Green.
yeah, so I do have another one that's running on a like a Raspberry Pi, um, but it's for me, it's different customer segments. Um, I think that the people that use Home Assistant, these are the folks that are they're the most forward thinking, and they know exactly what they want, and like if it doesn't exist on the market, they're going to build it, and that's pretty impressive. But it is a very niche market, and our goal is not necessarily like we want to create stuff that's more for the masses, and a lot of the times like we just want to make people smile, right? And like some of our products, especially our like our wall products, some of our gaming products, like it's just like I like when people look at it and they're like, oh, that's so cool, like that's kind of what we're going for. So like I think having it work with the different ecosystems, like sometimes I actually look at the Home Assistant community and that it's inspiration for me. But overall, like we do want to create products that are simple and easy to install, and stuff that makes people smile. That's really it. So it's
Yeah. Well,
kind of
I've
simple.
I've jumped down the rabbit hole of Home Assistant a little bit here in the past year or so, and I think everything that I own from Nanoleaf works in Home Assistant just fine. So that's one good thing about Nanoleaf stuff is they work, I think, in every ecosystem pretty much across the board. So
One of the things that I don't know if I can speak publicly yet about it, but like I actually want to open source a lot of our software. It's a little bit counterintuitive, but like I look at like the WLED like platform, and I look at
mhm.
Home Assistant, and I think that like the people in the community, they're capable of coming up with way more ideas than just my team. So why not just give it to them? Like it's not like we're making money through software anyways. Like if people aren't happy with our software, open just download some open source software, push it on our products, and just you'll be off to the races. It's just easier said than done. I've actually explored this internally with my team, and there's a lot of security challenges with it, which we're looking for ways to overcome. But it's just a balancing act of like the different efforts that we have going on. But it is something that we really want to do, and I think it'd be really cool. Like imagine like all of your Nanoleaf products, all of a sudden it's like the tinkers could take it over and just be like, hey, like jailbreak your Nanoleaf or whatever, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
but it's not even really a jailbreak because it's just we're giving you a
it's
path to
open
jailbreak
source.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there would be some crazy stuff that takes place, I'm sure. People do some amazing things. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started dabbling a little bit with Home Assistant, and it is. It can be intense, but some of the stuff like I actually have a Home Assistant channel in my Discord server, and I mean I'll pop in there sometimes, and I'm just blown away. They're just off to the races doing the most insane things, and it like I said, it's inspiring. Sometimes I'm like, wow, I would love to do that, but I need to sleep a little bit in the next
it's a
3
lot.
weeks.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. It is impressive though. I think those are the people that are the most passionate about smart home.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask you, going back to kind of Matter and Thread and all that kind of stuff, without getting back into the weeds there, are there any features that you wish Apple or Matter would add to enhance Nanoleaf products? Or maybe anything that you can share that maybe we can expect in the near future? I like light scenes is probably a good example, or
I
effects.
think for me, I think it was actually the bindings around like being able to the Matter bindings, the ability to configure that. I think is a really big one. So part of the
Hmm.
reason why our Sense Plus button, like we had to make it so proprietary, is because like this is a motion sensor plus a button. So when you expose it to something like Matter, do you expose it as a motion sensor? Do you expose it as like a button, or like it's actually a combination of both? But like it's actually very difficult to configure with each of the ecosystems. So those are some of the features that I would really care about. I think in terms of like controlling the lights itself, like you could do that via scenes, and we do our best to do that. And we also do our best to like give the users other ways to control scenes, right? So I think um, you know, I realize with stuff like Matter, like we used to be a lot more active in the Matter, um, I guess, standard creation,
Hmm.
but now we've been kind of more cautiously just watching what they do and actually implementing features as it comes instead of trying to get all the software giants to agree on something.
So that was a challenging task, I take it.
It was difficult. There's been some, like it's hard, right? Because like a lot of these software giants, they're in many ways competitors to each other, and and these are, Matter is supposed to be a standard body that brings them all together, and obviously they each have like a pretty big voice on the table. So when you're at an impasse, like it's a little bit challenging. But
Yeah.
I think they're making good strides, and I think that the leadership over at Matter has been strong. They're really trying to bring everyone together and get the industry together. Um,
Hmm.
I think for lighting, lighting was their focus in the last couple of years, but I think they're starting to move beyond that, which is I think they're really trying to create a baseline for Matter as well. I think last time I heard, I think Matter 1.4 was supposed to be the new baseline where everyone needs to be at least at that level in order, for the whole industry to have like an experience that is to some degree unified.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
I read that somewhere too, and they're not all there yet, but hopefully this year they'll all be on the same page. I know that that's kind of been frustrating in a lot of ways because people like me and so many others are saying, well, Matter is supposed to just make smart home easy. You buy anything that supports Matter. Well, then you got all these ecosystems that are on different versions of Matter. Certain devices
exactly.
aren't supported, like you said, Matter bindings. I mean, that's a whole nother thing, but currently that can't be configured in any of the ecosystems. So you have to have a third party app that can you know configure those Matter bindings. So it ends up becoming even more confusing in a lot of ways than it was to begin with. So I'm looking forward to the day where everybody gets to that baseline like you're talking about, and I hope to see that this year.
I think it's coming soon. Like the industry has been making a lot of strides in this space. So, I do think that it's gotten a lot more stable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think overall, we as a company, like we're more focused on like what's the next cool product that we could release? What's the next thing that could, really excite our customers and um, do that. Like for us, it's just creating joy.
Yeah.
Like you've met me a couple times in person. Like I'm not a super materialistic person, nor am I like me or my two co-founders. We're not greedy people. Like we do this out of the joy of creating cool products, right?
Yeah.
Like if we could create something that's like totally new and totally fresh and something that could like positively like touch people's lives, that's a win for us, right? And to be honest, like like I feel like in some ways I've already achieved that. Like I like it's pretty amazing that like people buy our products and put it in, like for example your stream. Like you always have our lines in the background, and honestly,
Mm-hmm.
like it's amazing, right? Like like first of all, thank you for doing that because like I think I think not a lot of people. Well, actually, like a lot of streamers do use our products in the background, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it feels good. It feels
Yeah.
like we really touch people's lives in a positive way.
Well,
So
that's awesome to hear. And I do agree with you. I think Matter has gotten a lot better despite all these issues and stuff we're talking about. And yeah, it's speaking to the Nanoleaf products. It's funny too when you mention these. When I started setting up this studio and building, I'd been planning it out forever. It's something I want to do for a long time, just to have a dedicated space. And I remember consciously thinking to myself, I do not want to have LED lights all over the place because you just see a lot of gamer setups and I just didn't want it to look child. I just had a very specific look that I was going for, I guess you could say. Well, it turns out that I've got Nanoleaf lights all over the place in here, and I love the way it looks. So it's just I say that to say, I think a lot of people may think that the LED, RGB lighting and stuff like that it may look childish, or it's just for gamer setups or something. But I feel like in this space, I've kind of created, I still maintain the look that I was going for in the studio. I mean, I sit up here and like watch movies and stuff with my daughter and everything like that also. So I don't just, stream in here. But yeah, I just love the way it came out, and I've got Nanoleaf stuff all over the place in here. So thank you for making great products.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's we try. We have more products coming out. So this year alone, I think we're launching about 10 different products. So we
Nice.
have we're pretty busy.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit. How many
Yeah.
did you launch in 2024?
It was a similar amount. Some of them are like
Okay.
I think there's some that that we would consider like flagship products. So for example, Blocks was launched last year, right? So speaking of
Yeah.
RGB everywhere, this is Blocks. It's
I've got mine right behind
yeah.
the computer, or right behind the camera here as well.
Yeah. So this was one of our kind of like our evolution to our wall panels. And like really the evolution is like we wanted to make it functional. So being able to like hang stuff on it, have shelving as well. And also these things kind of come off, right? So you could have different shells that go on it.
Hmm.
So that was one of our flagship products. This year we launched the face mask, the floor lamp, and both of those have been selling really well for us. We have the PC light strip that we just PC screen mirroring light strip that we just announced. We have a couple of SKUs that we're doing for Walmart. Some of them are flagship, some of them are more so fundamental like lighting products.
Yeah.
But like our hope is that we could uh, kind of continue to create products that people love. And I think one of the questions is only in the lighting category or branching out.
I saw that.
That's a
I was gonna bring that up to you because I've been wanting to ask you about the face mask. There was a couple comments earlier in the stream, and didn't have a chance to pull them up regarding the face mask. So, Nanoleaf just released an LED face mask. In fact, I believe one of the comments was from my wife. Said she keeps checking the mail, so she is she has been excited, probably more for that LED face mask than any other
Did someone
Nanoleaf
from my
product.
team arrange that for her? Because I am happy to do that. I like we could chat after this, but I'll make sure
Yeah,
that she gets one.
I do think one is in the mail, so she's
Okay.
checking for it.
Okay. We
Thank you.
actually, one of our biggest challenges this year has been the supply chain. So, happy Liberation Day. I'm here in Canada. Yeah, I'm sure you
Hmm.
guys all know what I'm talking about. I believe Trump was supposed to make the announcements, what, at 4 p.m. today? Was that, did I hear that correctly?
Oh,
So
really?
maybe, oh, you don't follow this. Well, this
I
impacts us
I've
quite a
not.
bit.
I watch as little news as possible during the day.
But the tariffs actually impacted the lighting category quite a bit. So just to give viewers some context, we used to like originally we started our manufacturing out in China, and the China manufacturing like during Trump's first term, he implemented tariffs on that category, and we were paying 28.9% import tariffs for products going into the U.S. market. And then when he came into power again in January, they added 10%. And then when he started talking all the smack to Canada, he added another 10%. So in total, the tariffs for our recent imports from China, it was 48.9%. So
Wow.
it it hit hard.
Mm.
So like this is just a little bit of politics, yes. But overall, like for us, to answer Dan's question, maybe we should shift out of politics. But yes, we are looking to branch out beyond lighting. Like our view on things is, we want to push the boundaries of technology and really create products that make people smile. and it doesn't have to be in the lighting category, but overall, we've already done so much in lighting. We will continue to do that. But I think we want to experiment outside of lighting, and you guys might see some new products coming out from us later on this year
Oh, very
if
exciting.
we hit our
There,
timelines.
there's Caroline. That's the wife. She said,
Yeah.
"Catch me on the next live stream with her face mask." So that'll be a sight to see, I'm sure. Yeah, this is the face mask is the first product in the health and wellness category, I guess technically for you guys, right? I will
That's
admit that
correct.
was the one of the most surprising announcements I think I saw from CES this year. I did not see that one coming at
We
all.
we were a little uncertain on how our market would take it, because like traditionally our products have really been tailored towards smart home audience or the gamer audience.
Hmm.
But of course, with the LED face mask, like we're experts in LEDs. We're probably one of the bigger purchasers of LEDs, especially RGB LEDs, and color changing LEDs is definitely our specialty. So there's, over the last couple of years, we've been reading a lot of research about the benefits of stuff like red light therapy. And I think there was a lot of uncertainty from my team on whether we should do this. But my wife, who was also our CMO, she was like, "You guys got to get into we got to get into this category. Like, it's growing. More and more people actually understand the benefits of red light therapy. And actually, at CES, after we did our kind of PR announcement around it, so many people came talking to us, being like, you know what, this is actually an area that I've been wanting to get into, and I already understand the benefits. And it was like, it was men and women, so it wasn't
Hmm.
necessarily just women that was in this. Um, and even folks like Carolyn, she came and she was really like adamant about like, hey, this is something that she was finally excited about. So for
Yeah.
us, our biggest challenge has been keeping it in stock.
Hmm.
So it's
Wow.
it's uh
Well, that's a
it's
good problem
interesting.
to have. Yeah, that's very interesting. I know nothing about red. I mean, I'm familiar with it as a concept, but I know nothing about it. And it's funny you say all that because literally, just I think I told you at CES, but literally just days before CES, Caroline was telling me all about red light LED therapy and these face masks and stuff like that, and she was saying she wanted to get one, and it was really the first I'd ever heard of about all that. And then you guys announced the face mask, so yeah, that's it's definitely a thing, and it sounds like people are really into it. So excited to see maybe some more health and wellness products from Nanoleaf in the future.
Definitely. We should send you two, and then you guys could go on the live stream together. And
I will do
I'm
it.
just kidding.
I will do it. That would be fun. Change up the colors. Yeah. Oh man. So I would like to ask you kind of as we're getting close to the end of the hour here, as smart home tech is kind of becoming a lot more mainstream and the industry continues to just evolve. We've talked a lot about that today. Where do you see Nanoleaf fitting into the smart home of the future?
Well, I think that there comes a time where the future home is going to be smart, so that kind of starts to blend together. And it's not quite there yet. And especially with smart lighting, like the fact that by code every single light fixture needs to be attached to a physical switch, it creates kind of a problem for lights, right? And I think that our Sense Plus button was a step in that direction. We wanted to have physical controls for our customers, but it requires stuff like Thread to get much more mature, stuff like Matter bindings that needs to actually work just as well as LightWave. If it doesn't work as well as LightWave, then we probably wouldn't want to implement it. So I think it'll take some time to get there, but we do want to create a combination of like really cool and fun lighting products, as well as just the essentials that you need for everyday lighting. And that's just one part of what we're trying to achieve. Like beyond lighting, I think just so many other categories that we could branch into. We have a very smart, capable of team that that is eager to create stuff that will, excite people. So if we could keep doing that and putting smiles on people's faces, I think that that's really a win. Um, yeah, I think that's it's a pretty simple goal. It's something that I always say to my team is, the journey is the destination, right? Like it's about the everyday. It's about the ability to come on a live stream and chat with you, who I'm a fan of, and also to your customers, to your audience, who are a lot of which have actually tried out our products and either have feedback or would want to hear the story behind the team that makes it. So I think that this is just a part of the journey, and the longer we can stay on this journey, the better. And
Yeah.
this is life.
That's awesome. So just keep doing what you're doing, huh? Smart
Just
lighting
keep going.
products and maybe expanding outside of smart lighting as well. It's very exciting. I appreciate you for doing this live stream and your team. Everybody's always very nice. I heard you guys went to the Sphere in Las Vegas this year. How was that?
We did. I don't think the audience is going to like this, but I fell asleep. I was so tired.
Well, it's a
Uh,
long week. CES is
CS is so
draining.
tiring. Yeah, but
Yeah.
our team, they wanted to do it last year, but it was so hard to get tickets. So this year it was like, okay, before CES even starts, we're going to plan out the Sphere, and everyone was super excited about it. But I took that as an opportunity to take a nap.
Well, I don't blame you. After a few years of CES, I know how tiring it could be. Yeah, I haven't done the Sphere yet. We had a nice view of it from our room, but have not been inside yet. So maybe next year.
Sounds good.
All right, Jimmy. Well, thank you once again for taking the time to come on here on the live stream and interact with the audience and myself. I appreciate everybody else for tuning in here today. Thanks so much. Today is the first Wednesday of the month, so if you're a channel member, I'll be over in Discord for our monthly member chat here in a little bit. And yeah, till the next time, thanks so much. Thanks again, Jimmy, and we'll see you guys in the
Thank
next
you.
one. Bye.
Bye, guys.